Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. On Saturday, Harry would be playing in his first match after weeks of training, Gryffindor versus Slytherin. Hardly anyone had seen Harry play because Wood had decided that, as their secret weapon, Harry should be kept, secret. But the news that he was playing Seeker had leaked out somehow, and Harry didn't know which was worse, people telling him he'd be brilliant, or people telling him they'd be running around underneath him holding a mattress. It was really lucky that Harry now had Hermione as a friend. Harry learnt that there were 700 ways of committing a Quidditch foul, and that all of them had happened during a World Cup match in 1473, that Seekers were usually the smallest and fastest players, and that most serious Quidditch accidents seemed to happen to them, that although people rarely died playing Quidditch, referees had been known to vanish and turn up months later in the Sahara Desert. Hermione had become a bit more relaxed about breaking rules since Harry and Ron had saved her from the mountain troll, and she was much nicer for it. The day before Harry's first Quidditch match, the three of them were out in the freezing courtyard during break, and she had conjured them up a bright blue fire which could be carried around in a jam jar. Harry noticed at once that Snape was limping. Harry, Ron, and Hermione moved closer together to block the fire from view. They were sure it wouldn't be allowed. Harry showed him. "He's just made that rule up," Harry muttered angrily as Snape limped away. Harry, Ron, and Hermione sat together next to a window. Hermione was checking Harry and Ron's charms homework for them. Harry felt restless. "Rather you than me," they said together, but Harry had an idea that Snape wouldn't refuse if there were other teachers listening. Harry tried to shut the door quietly, but Harry gulped. Harry left before Snape could take any more points from Gryffindor. "Did you get it?" Ron asked as Harry joined them. In a low whisper, Harry told them what he'd seen. "I'm with Harry." Harry went to bed with his head buzzing with the same question. Neville was snoring loudly, but Harry couldn't sleep. He tried to empty his mind. He needed to sleep. He had to. He had his first Quidditch match in a few hours, but the expression on Snape's face when Harry had seen his leg wasn't easy to forget. Harry felt terrible. "Harry, you need your strength," said Seamus Finnegan. "Thanks, Seamus," said Harry, watching Seamus pile ketchup on his sausages. As a surprise for Harry, they had painted a large banner on one of the sheets Scabbers had ruined. Meanwhile, in the changing rooms, Harry and the rest of the team were changing into their scarlet Quidditch robes. Slytherin would be playing in green. "We know Oliver's speech by heart," Fred told Harry. Harry followed Fred and George out of the changing room and, hoping his knees weren't going to give way, walked onto the pitch to loud cheers. Harry noticed that she seemed to be speaking particularly to the Slytherin captain, Marcus Flint, a fifth year. Harry thought Flint looked as if he had some troll blood in him. Harry clambered onto his Nimbus 2000. "Harry hasn't had much to do yet." "Kept out of trouble, though, that's something," said Hagrid, raising his binoculars and peering skywards at the speck that was Harry. Way above them, Harry was gliding over the game, squinting for some sign of the snitch. When Angelina had scored, Harry had done a couple of loop-the-loops to let out his feelings. Once he caught sight of a flash of gold, but it was just a reflection from one of the Weasleys' wristwatches, and once a bludger decided to come pelting his way, more like a cannonball than anything, but Harry dodged it and Fred Weasley came chasing after it. "All right there, Harry," he had time to yell as he beat the bludger furiously towards Marcus Flint. Harry saw it. Harry was faster than Higgs. He could see the little round ball, wings fluttering, darting up ahead. He put on an extra spurt of speed. A roar of rage echoed from the Gryffindors below. Marcus Flint had blocked Harry on purpose, and Harry's broom spun off course, Harry holding on for dear life. They ought to change the rules. Flint could have knocked Harry out of the air. It was as Harry dodged another bludger, which went spinning dangerously past his head, that it happened. Harry tried to turn back towards the Gryffindor goalposts. He had half a mind to ask Wood to call time out, and then he realized that his broom was completely out of his control. No one seemed to have noticed that Harry's broom was behaving strangely. "Don't know what Harry thinks he's doing," Hagrid mumbled. Suddenly people were pointing up at Harry all over the stands. Harry's broom had given a wild jerk, and Harry swung off it. At these words, Hermione seized Hagrid's binoculars, but instead of looking up at Harry, she started looking frantically at the crowd. He had his eyes fixed on Harry and was muttering non-stop under his breath. Ron turned the binoculars back on Harry. The whole crowd were on their feet, watching terrified as the Weasleys flew up to try and pull Harry safely onto one of their brooms, but it was no good. Every time they got near him, the broom would jump higher still. Up in the air, Harry was suddenly able to clamber back onto his broom. Harry was speeding towards the ground when the crowd saw him clap his hand to his mouth as though he was about to be sick. He hit the pitch on all fours, coughed, and something gold fell into his hand. He didn't catch it, he nearly swallowed it. Flint was still howling 20 minutes later, but it made no difference. Harry hadn't broken any rules, and Lee Jordan was still happily shouting the results. Gryffindor had won by 170 points to 60. Harry heard none of this, though. Harry, Ron, and Hermione looked at each other, wondering what to tell him. Harry decided on the truth. "Yes?" said Harry eagerly. "So why did he just try and kill Harry?" cried Hermione. "I don't know why Harry's broom acted like that, but Snape wouldn't try and kill a student." "Aha!" said Harry.